13-3 brings us to 20-12 on the season. Let's try and stay above 500. What's good, NFL fans? We're back. It's my weekly pick'em, week 3 game picks. You already know. Unfortunately, I am filming this game late, so we don't have the Giants and 49ers here to talk about, but on my channel community page, or whatever it's called, I did pick the Niners, and I did let you know beforehand that this video would be late, but not going to waste any more time. Let's dive into our first Sunday slate game. First game we have is the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Detroit Lions, and I am going to take the Lions to win this game. Atlanta sits at 2-0 early, but early records, early season doesn't matter that much to me. I don't really care that they're 2-0. I'm not high on the Falcons as a team overall at all. I think they have a huge problem with mismanaging the talent that they have. Kyle Pitts was a dog in year 1, and ever since, did he fall off? Many people, specifically fantasy football players, think it's not the case. I don't think so either. I think Kyle Pitts is being horribly misused in Atlanta. This team has just gotten lucky. Plain and simple. They've gotten very lucky throughout their first 2 games. I don't think they should have beaten the Packers, and I'll give them the credit where credit's due. They beat the Panthers. The Panthers suck. Bijan Robinson looks incredible so far. He's looked like a complete stud. His talent alone, I believe, is enough to take over games. I just don't think it'll take over this one. I just think Detroit has a significantly better roster overall, offense and defense, and even special teams. This pick is really easy for me because I would take Jared Goff over Desmond Ridder, as I'd hope most people would. 10 out of 10 times. It's not even a competition. As for a score prediction, I'm going to take Detroit to win 28-22. Now we're moving on to the next game. The Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to take the Chargers to win. The Vikings shouldn't have lost the games that they've lost so far. Kirk Cousins has played spectacular, especially last week. It was not his fault that the Vikings lost. If the Vikings go 0-3, could you start to see the mentality change in that organization? Should they ship out Cousins? Should they ship out Jefferson? I don't think he's very happy with losing. No one's happy with losing. Both teams are going to be desperate to win this one. They're both 0-2, and they're both better than their record shows. Like, these teams should not be 0-2. I think the Chargers would be the more desperate team out of the two just because they play in a more loaded conference, and they're in a division with the Chiefs, who they have to play catch up with constantly, especially when you start losing games early like this. And if the Chargers lose this game, which I don't think they will, Brandon Staley needs to be fired. That dude is a terrible coach. That's his defense. The Chargers, for all the talent that they have been one of the worst defenses in the league over the past couple of years. It's insane how much wasted talent is in Los Angeles right now. With that being said, I think Brandon Staley will keep his job to lose it another day. I have the Chargers winning 40-10. I don't think this game will be close. I think changes are coming for one of these organizations. Next up, we got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Green Bay Packers, and I'm going to take the Packers to win this game. Derek Carr has 2-0. He's 2-0. The win is a win. I always say that. Performance-wise, from Derek Carr, he hasn't been that good so far. I think we all know that. I think the eye test shows that. If you're a stat watcher, it even backs up that argument. His luck has to run out eventually, and I just don't know how much longer this Saints team can keep winning. I think they're going to win their division still. It's getting close in between them and Tampa. You can't win so many games with your quarterback playing like this. It's just not going to happen. On the flip side, the other team's quarterback, Jordan Love, has been an absolute stud to start this season. 6 touchdowns in 2 games, 0 interceptions. Yes, the Packers at 1-1 should be 2-0. The Packers have a guy. I know it's kind of early, and it is early. It's his second start in his first starting season. He just looks good. He looks calm in the pocket. He delivers the ball with accuracy. He's just fun to watch, and the more players that are fun to watch in the league, the better. The Saints don't have Kamara still, and they just lost Marcus May to a 3-game suspension. Those are pretty big pieces for this team. But besides that, I don't think it matters anyways. If any of the Saints players that are out were playing, I still like the Packers to win this game. I think the Packers are just a better team, and I think they have the better quarterback. With that being said, I am going to take the Packers by a score of 23-20. Next up, we got the Houston Texans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I am going to take the Jaguars to win this game. I'll admit it, I didn't think CJ Stroud was going to be good. I didn't think he could pass the S2 cognitive test allegations. I didn't think he was smarter than a fifth grader, but he's looked good for what he's working with in Houston so far. You have to give him credit where credit is due. Houston overall does not have a good roster. They don't have much talent, but CJ Stroud has looked great for what he's got in front of him. If you give this kid an O-line, some better weapons, great defense, Houston will have a Super Bowl within the next 5 years. Without a doubt. I believe it. I like DeMeco Ryans as a head coach. I think they're doing great things over there, and hopefully they can finally start to turn the page away from the guy who decided to get like 60 massages in a year. You know, if they can keep CJ Stroud away from the massage parlors, they might... Okay. With all that optimism, like I said, there is pessimism. The Texans aren't a good football team, and the Jaguars looked like what we expect the Texans to be last week. The Jaguars had 9 field goals, 0 touchdowns. Lawrence looked like crap. The defense played well, held the Chiefs to 17 points. You can't ask for much more than that. Anytime the defense holds the opponent to 17 points, they should feel pretty confident that they win. I don't care how bad your team is. You can hold the other team to 17 points on offense through 60 minutes of football. You should probably win the game. And they didn't. I think the Jaguars are fine. I think they'll take this game with ease. Hopefully, it could be a bit of a trap game. That is my worry for them because I do believe in Stroud. I don't think he's going to win this game, but I believe in Houston a little bit more than I did. The AFC South also looks better with guys like CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson looking better than expected early on. I still think the Jaguars cakewalk the division. I don't think it's very close, and I think the Jaguars will win this game by a score of 30-20. Next up, we got the Denver Broncos taking on the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to take the Dolphins to win this game. All right, I know, I'm a Bills fan. I really wanted to pick Denver just because I hate Miami, but Miami is just too hot right now, and Denver hasn't been able to put away their games. They should have won both of their games. They should be 2-0, but they haven't been able to put it away, and that is a huge concern, especially going up against a team with such a high-powered offense like Miami. Russ has looked better than he did last year early on, but they're still 0-2. You still got stuff to fix. That's not acceptable for what you gave up for not only the quarterback, but just to get the damn coach. You gave up a first-round pick to get the coach. 0-2 is unacceptable. Miami is just too hot and too electric to bet against right now. It reminds me of Cincinnati going into the 2021 playoffs. You just can't bet against. It's too hot. It's too electric. Too much fun to watch. And I think Tua and Tyreek are 1 and 2 in MVP voting right now. Like, I don't think that's a bold claim to make at all. I think Miami will take this game with relative ease, and I think they're going to continue to build their lead in the AFC East. With that, I've got a final score of 26-21 in Miami's favor. Next up, we've got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, I am going to take the Titans. Now, that's not unfortunate. I don't really care who wins this game. However, what happened to Nick Chubb last week is brutal. It's accidental. It was not Minkah Fitzpatrick's fault whatsoever. Let's not blame that guy. Stuff happens out on the football field. It is what it is. Injuries are going to happen. It's part of the game. It sucks. It just happens. I don't think losing Nick Chubb, the player, is the issue. My issue is losing Nick Chubb, the person, to such a brutal injury, because you have to remember, these players are human too. They feel emotions. They feel things. Like, they're real, guys. I hate to break it to you, but they feel emotions just like you and I. And when they see their brother, their guy, go down with such agony and pain, it affects them mentally too. As much as I want to believe they can do it for their guy, I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. Titans upset the Chargers last week, and I think the Titans will win this one too to move to 2-1. I'm not high on the Titans at all. It's just the circumstances of this game which suck. I'm going to take the Titans to win 22-19. Next game on the schedule, the one I'm looking forward to, as you could probably tell, the Buffalo Bills are taking on the Washington Commanders, and to no surprise, I'm going to take the Bills. Eric Bieniemy has had the Commanders' offense looking lethal. If you've seen some of the highlights, some of the play designs, it's just so fun to watch. Like, if the Commanders can continue to build and Sam Howell can develop into that guy, which he's been pretty good so far. Not great, but I've liked what I've seen. Enough of sucking up to them, though. We don't really know yet what the Commanders are. Like, we know what to expect out of the Bills. We don't know what to expect out of this Commanders team. Are we going to get bottom of the barrel, poverty, a bad team that we expect from a bad team. Don't get it twisted. The Commanders aren't a bad team. I'm not saying that. Or are we going to see great things this season from the Commanders? Do we expect great things out? What do we expect from this team is what I'm trying to say. If this Commanders team wants to prove that they're for real and you can't mess with them, come out and smack the hell out of Buffalo, and people might take you seriously. Week 2, Buffalo was the Buffalo that we know and that we love, and hopefully Allen can continue to stay patient. He was very patient in the pocket in Week 2. He was not in Week 1. It's a matter of how long can Josh Allen stay patient. Throughout his career, he's had great games like this one. He's had great bounce back games. How long can he stay consistent? He's not going to be great every game, and Bills fans have to accept that. The media has to accept that. Stop dogging on the guy. That's the only issue for this Bills team, is the quarterback staying patient consistently. It doesn't sound that hard, but if he can do that, you're not stopping Buffalo. This will not be an easy game for either team. I think both teams have talents in both sides of the ball. I just think what it comes down to is Buffalo matches up better versus Washington than vice versa. So I'm going to take the Bills by a score of 30-25. Next game on the schedule, we got the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know, is this my first upset pick? I'm taking the Colts to win this game. Next up, we got the New England Patriots taking on the New York Jets. I'm not filming a Bills video. I'm going to take the Patriots to win this game. I think this might be the easiest pick so far. The Jets are screwed without Aaron Rodgers. Let's just put it that way. I love Zach Wilson. Obviously, he got pretty well known and pretty well liked for hot moms. I just don't believe in him as a football talent to get the job done for a Jets team that had those Super Bowl aspirations. Losing your guy, Aaron Rodgers, sucks. It does. I'll never root for injury no matter what team I'm a fan of. I'm a Bills fan. Just because the Jets lost their quarterback does not mean I want the guy to not be out there. I want the Bills to play the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. I want to beat them at their best. A win is a win, but to be the best, you have to beat the best at their best. And Aaron Rodgers is still one of the best. The Jets were going to be one of the best teams. New England has had some close games so far versus Philly and Miami. I think they've caught a bit of tough luck. I think they're better than their record shows. They're one of the better 0-2 teams. This should be a chance for the Patriots to get right, steer course, and hopefully try to push for a wild card spot. With that being said, I'm taking the Patriots to win 34-26. Now we're moving on to our Sunday afternoon slate, and the first game on the schedule is the Carolina Panthers taking on the Seattle Seahawks. And I am going to take the Seahawks to win this game. Bryce Young has looked pretty underwhelming so far, and CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson, with their performances, have made this look like the wrong pick. But let's not go there whatsoever, please. It's just too early. He's 2 games into his career, for God's sake. 2 games. He's a rookie. Give the guy time. I think people really expect too much out of rookie quarterbacks so early. Yes, the quarterback is the face of your franchise. It's the most important position on your roster, but it's one of the hardest, and the second hardest, I would say. Cornerback is definitely the hardest. There's so much to learn from him. I still believe in him. He's very talented. He's very accurate. Have to give him time to learn the game or get comfortable in an NFL field, NFL scheme, making NFL calls. It's not the same. The game is not the same. Even when you play at Alabama, you're just better because you played against better talent. Seattle looked much better in Week 2, though, defeating the Lions 37-31. In overtime. Their offense looked much better after it looked pretty putrid in Week 1. Have to see more of that going forward if they're going to have any chance of making the playoffs. Seattle's defense does have to tighten up a little bit, though. There's no better opportunity for them to get right and start to steer course than against a struggling rookie quarterback. Either he gets right or you do. It's really your choice, Seattle. With that, I'm going to take Seattle to win this game, 39-16. It's not going to be close. Next afternoon game is the Chicago Bears taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm going to take the Chiefs. I am the biggest Bears hater. I'm the biggest Justin Fields hater there is. I've always have been, and I always will be. The dude cannot read a defense. Now he's blaming his coaches and backtracking, and he's slow. He's not slow like speed, but like mentally processing the game. He's incredibly slow. He doesn't see anything. Outside of Justin Fields, though, I think the Bears have looked pretty solid. I think their O-line has been fine. They've got a lot of nice weapons. The defense is pretty meh, but that's enough for Justin Fields to succeed, and he's not. They're not even running him. Like, he's good at running. At least run the guy. What are you doing? Enough about the Bears, though. The Chiefs played the Jaguars in week 2, beating them 17-9. They didn't play their best. Their defense played really well. Their offense wasn't the Chiefs' offense that we know and love. I don't love. Like I always say, a win is a win, but having performances like that when you're a caliber of the team like the Chiefs, it's not optimal. Chiefs defense have looked spectacular so far. It's most definitely the best defense in Mahomes' career, which is a scary thing to say. I think they'll have a field day in this game, and I'm going to take the Chiefs to win 30-3. Our last Sunday afternoon game is the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Arizona Cardinals, and to no surprise to anybody, hopefully, I'm taking the Cowboys. Although my game pick is not a surprise to everyone's surprise, Arizona has not looked poverty. Like, they've looked not great. They're not great. They're not good. But they've looked better than what we all thought. We have to say it. We have to come out clean and say it. The Cardinals have looked better than we thought. Still terrible, but better than we thought. Jonathan Gannon has clearly looked like a clown to the public, and the media has made fun of him, but he's got those guys playing hard. Dallas has lost Trayvon Diggs for the season, which is going to be a huge blow to their defense, but schematically, it doesn't change anything, and I think the Cowboys are still going to have a great defense. I think they'll cakewalk through this game, and I have Dallas winning 34-17. Now we're moving on to the Sunday Night Football game of the week. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, and I'm going to take the Steelers to win this game. The Raiders got smacked by the Bills in week 2. They look terrible. Josh Jacobs and Jimmy Garoppolo both have to be better. Josh Jacobs and Jimmy Garoppolo both have to be better, plain and simple. In week 2, Josh Jacobs had 9 rushes for -2 yards. That's unacceptable for anybody, any back in the league. That's unacceptable. I will give Jacobs the benefit of the doubt, though. Their run blocking just wasn't good enough. I will not give benefit of the doubt to Garoppolo, though. You know, I do believe he only plays well when he has a lead. Clearly, he didn't play that well when he was trailing all game. He didn't even get the chance to have the ball in his hands. That's another issue. So maybe I will give him a little bit of slack. Like, if you don't have the ball for 20 minutes of the game, you're not going to be able to do anything. You're not going to be able to score 38 points to keep up with that. You have to score quick and every time. Like, this Raiders team is just not built for that. Kenny Pickett hasn't been great so far, but like Jimmy Garoppolo, he just kind of wins games. I know that's kind of a niche thing because Pittsburgh has a great defense and they're not winning games because of Kenny Pickett. But how often are Jimmy Garoppolo-led teams winning games because of Jimmy Garoppolo? There's your answer. Now, whether you blame Kenny Pickett for just generally sucking as a quarterback or Matt Canada, either way, Matt Canada needs to be fired. Like, the guy sucks. The issue with that is they don't fire coaches in season. I don't think they've ever done it, but I have a bold take. I think it is the right move to keep him and not fire him mid-season. You have a second-year quarterback who is struggling. Yes, it's an easy answer, an easy cop-out to just fire the offensive coordinator. But some form of continuity for these young guys is very important, and having that with a guy who's creating your offense and calling your plays is very important. With that all being said, I am going to take the Steelers to win this game 22-18. Now we're moving on to our Monday Night Football slate. We got 2 games. First up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and shocking pick, I'm going to take the Buccaneers. Eagles are 2-0 so far. Play calling hasn't been the best offensively. You know, Jalen Hurts has struggled a bit to Jalen Hurts standards because of that. Plenty of time to get right. It's early. I don't put stock into the first 8 weeks of the season, and you shouldn't either. Tampa Bay is also 2-0, and Baker has been phenomenal so far. If you're a football fan and you don't like Baker Mayfield, I feel bad for you. The dude is so much fun to watch. He's very talented. He's got one of the strongest arms in the league, which I don't think he gets enough credit for. That dude can launch it. Those dudes play very hard in Tampa, and look what happens when you don't have your wide receiver 1 and your organization bashing your starting quarterback and you actually believe in him. He looks good. He can play well. He's got confidence. Wow. This is purely an upset pick. I don't think Tampa Bay is better than Philly in any aspect. I just really like Baker Mayfield, and I'm just kind of like, why not? You know, it's a week-to-week league anyways, and there's going to be upsets every week, and nobody's 16-game picks are going to be perfect. I'm going to get some wrong. I'll probably get this one wrong. With that being said, I am going to take the Buccaneers by a score of 24-21. A pretty low scoring game, high event. It'll be a good watch. For our final game of the week, we have the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in a Super Bowl rematch from a couple years ago. But, neither of these teams are the same from then. I'm going to take the Rams to win this game, by the way. The Bengals are spiraling. They're 0-3. They got to figure stuff out. Joe Burrow should be out for a little bit. If he's not, it's just going to make things worse in Cincinnati. He's clearly hurt. He's playing hurt for his guys, which he just got the bag. He probably feels a little need to do so, but you're risking it all. I think it's pretty much over for Cincinnati if they go 0-3. I just don't have faith in them being able to climb out of that hole, especially if Burrow has to miss time. Meanwhile, on a positive note, on the other side of things, the Los Angeles Rams have a stud in Puka Nacua. That's a cool name. I don't even know if I said it right. Puka Nacua. I definitely said that wrong, but that guy is fun. Cool name, and he's fun. Stafford looks healthy. His elbow looks surprisingly good. Could they surprise some people this year? I'm starting to believe we're overlooking the Rams. Like, the Rams look good. They lost last week, but they were in that game to the end. If they don't do damage this year and they don't push for a wild card spot, could they ship out Aaron Donald? That's a discussion for another day, but if you want my honest thoughts, he's going to Buffalo. No homerism, though. As for a final score in this game, I will take the Rams with a score of 27-15. And with that, that is it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, and in the comments down below, let me know if you agree with my game picks. Who are your winners for this week? Who's going to win the primetime games? Let me know. On your way out, please subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so if you're new here, I would appreciate it if you could help the rest of us get there.